So it's Valentine's Day 2023. And I have done videos on Valentine's Day many times because I get sad when people are cynical around the holiday because of commercialism or maybe because they're single. The commercialism thing is valid. I don't like seeing things over commercialized either, but I do love, as a recovering love addict, I have to find healthy outlets to talk about and celebrate love. And one of the ways I learned to do that years ago was to look up the different types of love so that when a holiday like Valentine's Day comes up or other people are experiencing some kind of love that maybe you envy to some degree, then you can take a step back and go through the checklist of all the seven healthy loves. There's eight unhealthy ones, so if you don't have that, you can also add that to the list of how you've experienced love recently, how it shows up in your life. Like storge, for example, not just a family type love, but people who feel like family, even pets. There's lots of ways we feel love. Philautia, maybe you're learning how to love yourself in this way that you've never really known before, and it's exciting. Why not celebrate it? So I think that Valentine's Day can be more than just this obligatory, you have to buy your significant other a gift and spend money. I think there's other ways to celebrate it, and I think that each person should come up with their own way to do that. My way of doing that is by demonstrating how much I love anybody who has or is struggling with relationships, uh, or just want to leave this for maybe my son, my granddaughter someday. Hopefully, she will have perfect, healthy relationships, but realistically, we all have a couple that are difficult. So, I want to make this video to just kind of sum up all of the loves that I've shared throughout the week through social media, because of blogs I've written in the past and also full videos I have here on my YouTube that I made in 2017 that you can go back and reference if you'd like. And I can always expand on them if you have questions on any of them. But this video is specifically just meant to tell you, as a recovering love addict, now that I've known a healthy romantic relationship for nearly 4 years now, after knowing this person since 2011, I think that I want to share the biggest difference I've noticed in this relationship compared to the others. Now, I want to add that when you don't have a foundation, a blueprint per se, as to a healthy philautia, the self love, how to have healthy boundaries, how to know agape love, that unconditional altruistic love with healthy boundaries, so that you can love mankind, but also keep a safe distance from people without harming yourself, because you have to be included in that agape philautia love, right? It's finding a balance between all of these loves that's really key to appreciating and enjoying what love can bring to you. Loving other human beings and expressing it in different ways with different people, depending on the type of love, the type of relationship, the type of dynamic. Like there's the ludus, which is playful. It embodies who I am. And I was often misunderstood because it's usually the kind of love that does not have any kind of an agenda. It's more of a game, playful banter kind of a loving way to interact with people, which is just who I am as an Aries. But it was misunderstood all the time. And not just by men, but by women. And women can be really brutal when they have an assumption about you. But I digress. That's definitely a digress. Women need to support each other and stop assuming things. We get enough of that from unhealthy men. So I want to talk about how all these loves have shown up in a healthy relationship. So let's get back to that. Philia has always been like the foundation of all my relationships, which I'm pretty proud of. My romantic ones, there was always a friend type of a love before the Eros kind of grew. And sure, I've had moments and non-committal type dynamics, relationships with people who I felt Eros for, but I also knew there was not going to be a storge. There might not even be a philia in there. I didn't want to build a family with them. They didn't feel like family. And I didn't really have the desire to have shared experiences with them, which is the storge kind of love where you feel like family because you've been through a lot of stuff together. And this was the first time in my life where the dynamic began very pragmatically, which brings me to pragma love. This was the first time I felt this intentional love. And this was coming from a space not just from me, but from him, because we both had such healthy philautia by this point. We both been through a lot, and we both had learned a lot about ourselves and what unhealthy relationships look like to us. And so we felt the eros, but we really paced ourselves and really intentionally, even without openly saying it to one another. It was just this natural dynamic of building this foundation, this heavy earth energy, of pragmatic approach to our coming together. So we learned how to fall in love with each other more, like the storge part grew. So we already had that philia from at the beginning. We had this soft, compassionate, loving feeling towards one another. The philia grew because we weren't really close friends, but we knew each other. And then, but the pragma, it was just always there. And it came from the place of philautia, from that self love, healthy boundary place. We would feel the eros, we'd get excited, we'd be in the moment, we just enjoyed every moment we had together, but we didn't let mania take over at any point. We would, if one of us felt a little too much of the mania at any point, we would just take a breath, take a moment. And it was really difficult for me at first to be in that space because I was so used to the extremes. I was so used to this really intense eros and getting all swept up in the high of it all. There was no really intense drug like high. It was just this constant, steady incline. And because it was such a sustainable beginning, I still have that feeling 4 years later. It's still this consistent, constant. I feel eros every day. And sometimes I have surges of it, of course, but it's always there. I always feel this playful love. I want to play with him, and he's my best friend, and want to tease him and banter with him, and he does the same to me. And we can play with all these different loves every day because this constant pragma love is always there. And it takes a couple of years of going through the ups and downs of two, people that have come from unhealthy backgrounds, have known toxic relationships, to work through whatever patterns they have. Maybe because you don't recognize every pattern when you're single. When you're single, you do a lot of healthy self work, and that's good. But then I got to a point, I was single for 4 years, and I got to a point to where I knew I was not going to grow anymore until there was somebody else there to challenge me. And I don't mean that he intentionally challenges me. I mean, healthy love, healthy relationships challenge you to want to be a better you. That other person doesn't have to do it. You're just so in it and you're so committed. And that pragma love is so intentional that it makes you want to build and build and build a life. And regardless of what happens with the relationship in the future, you are creating a better you. The relationship is just a mirror that shows an aspect of yourself that being alone can't show you. And it gives you a whole new area of work that you can do on yourself, which is hard, but exciting if you let it be. And that's what this relationship has been for me. And usually it takes a couple of years because that's about the time you settle into who you both are as a couple and as individuals, and what that means when you come in to the relationship and work together on something, and also who you are when you are out in the world, not being in the relationship but still in a relationship, if that makes sense. It's all very interesting. And I could go into that a lot more, but I think that's good for now. I hope this is helpful. And if you have more questions or want me to elaborate on different things, feel free to ask in the comments. But I hope that whatever love you feel, even if it's kindness to a stranger, feel that agape love. And know that if you're doing something altruistic because you know it feels good for you, not because it's your ego needs a boost, but because you know that that human being might need a boost. And then, yes, it might accidentally make you feel good too, which is always a nice bonus, but that's not our motivation, right? Like I said in my TikTok video about agape. Um, there's all kinds. Storge, maybe you have pets that you can love, friends, philia, coworkers that are good to you. You know, there's so many types of love. Philautia, find a way to love on yourself and give yourself some props for the day. Just whatever you do, celebrate love, celebrate how loving you can be and what you have to offer the world because it needs you. That's why you're here. All right. Sending you love and happy Valentine's Day.